Hey everybody, it's Kim, and I've been thinking about the lesson that goes along with this video in Colossians chapter 2. And it reminds me of counterfeiting bills. This is a real $20 bill. I remember learning it, and I just checked on the web, and sure enough, it's still the fact that the way that people in the Treasury Department are taught to determine whether a bill is real or counterfeit is that they're not taught all the different ways that a bill can be counterfeited. They're only taught this is what a real bill looks like. This is exactly what constitutes a real one. And there's a lot of features on our money these days. And I downloaded this from the Treasury Department, and it's a little short introduction to how you can tell that this is a real bill. And it's got some features on it. It's got a security thread that runs down through the bill here, and it describes here how to look at that and how to check it. It's also got raised printing. Again, more descriptions about that. And this part describes these colored numbers here. As you tilt the bill, the numbers change from green to brown. The colors do. And there's also a watermark which appears in this area that if you hold it up to the light, you can see Mr. Jackson again. And sure enough, this is a real bill. It has all the different security features. It feels right. And that's how you tell that you've got the real deal. Well, Christianity is a lot the same way. Paul's writing to the Colossians, and some people have come in and have been deceiving the Colossian Christians. And he's concerned about that, as he should be. And Paul is trying to remind the people what's important. How do you tell that this is authentic Christianity? The main way that Paul makes his argument that they already know how to determine what authentic Christianity is that they've all been taught properly. They've all been rooted in the faith about Jesus. They've all been built up in Him. This is how they've grown up. They've become mature in these things. And they've all had their faith strengthened in it. This is supposed to be metal plate with rivets in it to show that it's really strong in case your imagination is quite as not strong enough to account for my poor drawing skills. He also says, and we should all be overflowing. This is one of the characteristics. You should be overflowing in gratitude for what Jesus did. Paul says, people are coming in and they're counterfeiting the message. They're coming out with these philosophies that are just empty deceptions. They're counterfeiters because they're claiming that we need to follow certain additional traditions instead of just Jesus. There are people who are coming into the Colossian area and saying, you need to follow these elementary principles. We've found new things that need to be followed. Don't eat certain things. Don't drink certain things. You need to follow these other rulers and authorities as well as Jesus, or possibly instead. These are the rules that you need to follow because of the certain days and festivals of the year. This is what you should observe. Or possibly you should follow this guy or that lady because they're super popular. Whether it's for something great that they did or something that they're suffering. People are coming in and say, yeah, Jesus, we understand Jesus, but you also need to study the angels. You need to pay attention to them. You need to follow the saints. You need to worship Mary. You need to worship or follow the teachings of Buddha or Krishna or Confucius. And there are some teachers who come through, and they still do today, and they say, I've had this dream. I've had this vision. I've had this word from the Lord. And Paul is saying, look, y'all, you know the basics. You know the things that you are rooted in. You know the things that have strengthened you, that you are built up in, that make you overflowing with gratitude. This is the real deal. This is what we have in Jesus. We know Jesus is God. We know that Jesus himself is fully God. And not only is he fully God, he's also fully man. He came and he was a real man, lived as a flesh and blood person here with us. Not only that, is because of what Jesus has done in the past and in the present with us, Jesus is the head of all things in the church, in the universe, of all powers and all authorities. And we also know that it's only Jesus who completes us. We don't need anything else, but we do need Jesus. He is both necessary and completely sufficient for us. And this is how we know that we've got authentic Christianity and not a counterfeit.